Happy Monday. Welcome to another sneak preview. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Caleb Lachey.
Today we're doing something a little bit different. Since neither of us wanted to see Dear Evan Hansen, which is getting destroyed by critics, and since we've lost quite a bit of faith in Netflix over the past year, didn't want to watch The Starling, which is sitting at 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, or Intrusion, which is sitting at 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, we decided to have fun with it. Today, we're doing another top 10 countdown. Fans of the Filmgazm podcast will remember these fondly. It's been a minute, and Caleb has never done this before.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've only ran in top 10s for the site a good amount of times, but never one for the show. So I'm excited to finally have my first pop my cherry on a top 10 show episode.
They are the most fun episodes, I got to say. Caleb and I have prepared our own top 10 favorite horror movies of the 2000s, meaning horror films that were released between 2000 and 2009. So that'll be the bulk of today's episode. Can't wait. But first, let's see what happened last week in film. Last week in film. First up, 4 trailers to start with. We got the second trailer for Halloween Kills hitting theaters and Peacock on October 15th. Solid trailer. Looks like we're going back to the beginning in more ways than one. This will be exciting.
Yeah, no, this I was kind of scared because I know a lot of people complain about the marketing for the last movie, revealing a lot of the footage. But I said I went ahead and watched this trailer, and no, it looks good. I mean, I'm so excited for Halloween Kills. I think this one's going to be awesome. Cannot wait.
Yeah, this is bitching. I didn't need a trailer, honestly. I was on board for this immediately. But I'm getting the feeling that this is a bloodbath, and that's fantastic. Just Michael carving his way through Haddonfield in a way I don't think we've ever seen. This is Michael on the defensive, which is new.
Yeah, like he's on the defensive. He has a town rallied against him this time. We got prior survivors coming back. Like, yeah, this is an all-out bloodbath. And I keep hearing that they're only showing like a tenth of the kills and the gore in the movie and the trailers. Like there's apparently a lot more in store for people that have seen it. I think at TIFF, I think is where they premiered it.
Yeah. So
apparently we're in for quite a treat come October 15th.
Beautiful. That's in 2 weeks. I can't fucking wait. Or 3 weeks. Sorry, got my times mixed up. I really want to see this. Next up, the full trailer for Spencer, the Princess Diana biopic starring Kristen Stewart. Hits theaters November 5th. I get that her name was Diana Spencer before she, maybe after she, I know her name was Diana Spencer, but why didn't they just call it Diana?
I don't know. I mean, look, admittedly, I'm going to straight up say it, not up my alley to immediately watch. I think Kristen Stewart, I'll definitely be paying attention because it looks like she will be up for Oscars big time if her performance is as good as the trailer is making it out to be.
That's the vibe I'm getting. Everyone is saying she is absolutely lights out, which is cool because I've never really cared about her in the slightest. But I think this movie is going to change that. This, for me, I think is going to do what The Lighthouse did for me for Robert Pattinson, kind of erase Twilight. So I think we'll see.
Yeah, well, I know both of them have also kind of like disowned that franchise big time in interviews, especially Pattinson, more so than Stewart. So I get the feeling that both of them just there was an opportunity to kind of get something, and I guess, a stepping stone to something bigger. And luckily, Pattinson has really gone better stuff since then. Like, so The Lighthouse and this upcoming Batman film that I'm tired of hearing about. I just want to fucking watch. Oh,
I was watching this article on crack.com about just the weirdest and most entertaining commentary on DVDs. And I guess the commentary for Twilight is worth watching the movie again, because Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart just eviscerate the entire movie, just make fun of it, just mock it. Pattinson goes on a big whole thing about veggie burgers, like not even watching the movie anymore. I listened to some of it. It was great.
Yeah, I've seen like interviews with Pattinson just pretty much just making fun of his character, like basically saying like, how do you teenage girls like this character? This guy's a stalker. Like,
That's good. I'm excited for Spencer. Princess Diana has such a fascinating story, and it looks like this might do her story justice. I hope Kristen Stewart is up to the task. Next up,
if it's a primary for sneak preview, I'll watch it. If not, I'm not watching.
November 5th. I think we've got other stuff. We'll see. I won't make you watch this if you don't have to. I know you don't care. Next up, Finch, a post-apocalypse drama starring Tom Hanks as a scientist who builds a robot buddy to help him protect his dog in the wasteland. It's Apple TV Plus on November 5th. This looks cute. I watch anything with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, no, I did see the trailer for this. It looks pretty good. My only worry is from what I've heard from you and some other people with Apple TV Plus, is that their film output hasn't been the greatest.
It looks like that's going to change though, because earlier this year I watched Coda, which was fantastic, and with Finch and the movie we're about to talk about, I think Apple TV is about to change their output. I think they're going to be big next year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like Tom Hanks. Who doesn't like Tom Hanks? So it's definitely looks like something that might be at very least entertaining. He still makes entertaining movies. So if I don't have Apple TV Plus account, so I'll check it out if I ever get an account.
Good. Finally, the teaser for Joel Coen's The Tragedy of Macbeth, starring Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, hits theaters on Christmas Day and Apple TV Plus 2 weeks later on January 14th. This looks off the fucking wall. This looks so intense. It's Joel Coen on his own for the first time. Ethan's nowhere to be seen here. I don't think that means there's a split coming. I doubt that. They're fine. But this looks so good. I'm very excited for this.
I'm so glad you are, because that trailer bored the living fuck out of me.
It was 40 seconds long. You can't hold interest for 40 seconds.
Not for that movie.
I don't care about Shakespeare either, but Macbeth I have a soft spot for, and this just looks so exciting to me. So, damn. Okay.
There's nothing that looked exciting to me. I could care less about this film coming out.
I thought you were a Coen Brothers fan.
I am. I'm not the biggest Shakespeare fan. He bores the living shit out of me.
Me too. I fucking hate Shakespeare. But this is the Coen Brothers doing Shakespeare. That's got to be something.
Nope.
All right. Well, I have a feeling this is going to make some Oscar buzz. I'm going to be talking about this movie a lot over the next.
Look, when it comes to Shakespeare, I'll watch Romeo and Juliet again. Shout out to Josh. I'll watch that again because that was entertaining. And I'll check out Shakespeare Shitstorm coming up from Trauma. I'll watch theirs because their stuff's entertaining.
The 2015 Macbeth by Justin Kurzel, starring Michael Fassbender and Marion Cotillard. That was really good. That was a hardcore war epic. That was an action movie. Telling you, man, they're out there. The good ones are out there. You just have to know where to look.
Trauma Entertainment. Got it.
Okay. I'm ice skating uphill here. This ain't happening.
Sorry about this movie. I'm glad you like it. It did not. 40 seconds of me just going, yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm pretty disappointed right now. I'm not going to lie. I thought we were going to have a moment here, but nope, that's gone.
You really watched that trailer and thought Caleb's totally going to like this trailer?
I thought it looked intense. I know you like all the people involved. So what happened? Just Shakespeare just completely shut you down? That sucks.
Yeah, and the style and everything just looks like it's going to be this pretentious type of artsy thing that I could care less about.
Okay, moving on. Nintendo. Yeah, I feel bad. I'm upset now. I'm going to enjoy this film. I don't care. I'm looking forward to this. I'm not apologizing for any reason.
What if the rest of this year is just you constantly bringing that movie up? Just I'm going to enjoy it. God damn it.
It's award season, so I feel like this is going to happen a lot, actually.
Once October's over, man, it's a lot of me having to be like, okay, let's watch this movie. Woo!
Nintendo has announced an animated Super Mario movie for next year. And the voice cast has a lot of fans pretty irritated. Chris Pratt is Mario. Charlie Day is Luigi. Anya Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach. Jack Black is Bowser. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong. Kevin Michael Richardson is Kamek. And Sebastian Maniscalco is Spike. Release date is December 2022, and I could give a fuck. I've never cared about Mario.
As someone who does like Mario, I'm kidding. The people that are getting all pissy online, shut the fuck up. All right. Like, look, it's just a voice cast. The movie's not coming out till next year. We don't have a trailer. We don't have anything to base their performance on yet. So just get your pants out of your fucking asshole and wait to see a trailer and then see how you feel about a fucking Mario movie or Chris Pratt.
Did you say get your pants out of your asshole?
Yes.
What the fuck does that mean?
I made it up on the fly.
It sounded like you were trying to say something and it didn't happen. But all right, yeah, I agree. Get your pants out of your asshole, you annoying assholes.
It's just like people do. Like, what was it back? Okay, like I'm getting fed up with like people that will get mad at something without really waiting for footage or any kind of thing, right? Like when it was announced that Heath Ledger got cast as the Joker, fans got furious. I'm like, hold on. Like, you're not there when they're doing the casting auditions and with the casting director and the director who are looking over all these auditions and picking roles. You're not there. They are. Just hold it, okay? Wait. Nintendo's proven with Sonic that they got this video game thing with Sonic and the Castlevania show on Netflix. Like, they seem to understand the video game movie adaptation better than a lot of these other companies. So just wait. Just give it a second, people. It's fucking Mario. It's not known for its story.
It's true. It's true. I probably won't see this. I've had PlayStation my whole life. I'd never played Mario. I don't care.
I'll check it out just because I do like the Mario games. I like the Mario Brothers, like the actual like side-scrolling Mario Brothers. All the offshoots I can't care less about, but I'm a fan, so I'll check it out.
Cool. Well, maybe I'll sit off on that one, or I don't know. Hopefully something else comes out that week. The third Fantastic Beasts movie has a title and a release date. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore will hit theaters April 15th, 2022. Mads Mikkelsen is replacing Johnny Depp as the franchise's main villain, the Dark Wizard Gellert Grindelwald. And with the recent fervor of Johnny Depp fans coming out of the woodwork, a lot of people are starting to boycott this movie because of this. I'm not looking forward to it mostly because the second one sucked ass. And I don't think this is being made for the right reasons. The Fantastic Beasts franchise feels very financially driven and not story driven. I don't appreciate J.K. Rowling doing everything she can to alienate trans people. And I like Mads Mikkelsen. I don't like the way this was handled.
No, well, especially because the court, proved that Amber Heard was lying.
Yeah.
And then I've been seeing, I don't know how confirmed it is, but supposedly like Jason Momoa has kind of been revealing he's not the biggest fan of her when they've been filming Aquaman 1 and 2.
From my own inner sources of filming, I've heard she's a horrible person to be on set with. She's unprofessional. She holds people back. She doesn't learn her lines, and she doesn't give a fuck about anybody's time but her own. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm about to say people love Momoa. I heard he's pretty awesome to have on set. So yeah. I'm honestly exactly everything you said. I'm pretty much with you on this movie. With the stuff J.K. Rowling becoming like the Donald Trump of Twitter in his absence, apparently. It just won't shut up saying dumb stuff.
It's so easy to not be an asshole. Just keep your mouth shut when the future of $1 billion franchise is at stake. Right.
It's like, just stop talking. But yeah, like between that and the fact that I didn't really like either Fantastic Beasts movie.
I liked the first one initially. I haven't gone back to it. And 2, I thought was garbage.
God, 2, like the first one, I'll say this. I thought it was okay. The first one. And I was like, I thought it was okay enough to go like, you know what? I'll give the second one a shot. Hopefully they go up. And I remember just really hating sitting through that second movie. Like, I hated sitting through it.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, like it feels like J.K. Rowling hasn't had success outside of Harry Potter as a writer.
She hasn't.
So it's like she's like crawling back to get that Harry Potter money, but instead of just maybe making new books, she's like, oh, I can just add to this impeccable film series I have established.
Or she could just shut up and take the royalties.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't
she's
like.
making millions every year from just doing nothing, from just owning this shit. Why does she? There's no need for this. It's tainting the franchise. They're not good movies, and there was so many different options she could have done with a prequel, tell a good story, but instead we went this route, and I don't know why.
You know what I wish she would have done? Do what do what they're doing with Lord of the Rings. I'm really excited for the Amazon Prime thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a TV show. It's within the universe, but it's not getting tied down by the books or anything. They're just obviously adhering to rules and stuff established by Tolkien. Like I'm actually really excited for this show because it's like the thing that bugs me with a lot of these franchises is not just Harry Potter, but like Lord of the Rings, but like Star Wars, right? Stop being tied to your focused storyline for so long. Like in the case of Star Wars, it's the Skywalker saga. Harry
Yeah.
Potter, it's obviously the title character. Lord of the Rings, Frodo and all them. Realize that what these it's so for great stories, but realize that these people create worlds for you to play with. So play with them. That's why the Mandalorian's so fucking good. That's why I'm excited for that Lord of the Rings show. They're playing with these worlds that are created. Stop remaking the story. Stop adding to the story we don't need.
Yep. I'm apprehensive with the Amazon show. As long as the Tolkien estate has no problem with it, I have no problem with it.
I think they've been working with them.
Good. In that case, very good. I also heard that they're trying to get Howard Shore to do the music, which is very exciting.
Yeah. From what I understand, they're not. This isn't. They've been taking their time because they've been talking about this for years. So this has been like Prime's biggest thing that they've been wanting to do. So from what I understand, they got a lot of fans that are actually working on this show that are trying to make it right. My understanding.
Well, I didn't want to see just another Game of Thrones knockoff. I didn't want to see. I wanted this needs to feel like the Lord of the Rings, or it's not going to work.
Exactly. It definitely, from what unlike the Fantastic Beasts, which has just felt like like you said, financial driven. What I've been seeing on my two main sources when I always say I hear this, for me is Blaze Disgusting and IGN. Those are my two biggest sources I go to.
Yeah.
And what I've seen off IGN is that it's fans that are doing the show and that they want to do it right. They're not doing it for financial reasons. They just want to tell a new story within the world of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings universe.
It's good. I think, with Fantastic Beasts, why not just tell the story of Dumbledore and Grindelwald in one movie? Why do you need to have 5? Why is Eddie Redmayne even here if there's going to be no Fantastic Beasts through line anyway?
And see, that's my thing. It's like, don't stop putting Dumbledore, because that's what I mean. Because I know some people are like, well, they're telling a different story. No, they're not. They're putting Dumbledore in to tie it as close to Harry Potter as they can, instead of just giving us new Scamander and making him the focus and getting away from all that Harry Potter stuff. Yeah. But because they want to adhere to it, look at how much it's suffering.
Yeah, it's a damn shame. I'm not expecting a lot from this.
No, I literally am not that. I'm not excited at all for Fantastic Beasts 3. I hate that after this I got 2 more films to get through for it to finally be over. And the whole Johnny Depp thing. I'm sorry. I'm with the fans. Boycott the damn movie. He shouldn't have been fired.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been fired. And now 3 unfortunate deaths to report this week. First up, actor Anthony Johnson has died at 55. He appeared in such films as Friday, Menace to Society, Lethal Weapon 3, and House Party, among others. He was a buddy of Ice Cube's. Ice Cube tweeted a very nice epitaph about him on Twitter. And just a damn shame.
Who was he in Friday again?
I regret to say I don't know.
I've seen these movies. I'm trying to place the name of this guy. I'm not trying to sound like that, but
he was a minor actor. He did a lot of bit part work, so he never really was. I don't want to say he wasn't huge, but I realize this is a really fucked up epitaph. But sorry, we don't know the guy very much. But my heart goes out to his fans and his family.
Yeah, well, so what, R.I.P. all the movies you named I like. So I'll look him up later to place it.
Next up, director Roger Michell has died at 65. Michelle was the director of Notting Hill, Changing Lanes, Morning Glory, and Hyde Park on Hudson, among others. South African director known for his rom-coms or rom-drams. And I've seen Hyde Park on Hudson, and I really didn't care for it.
I haven't seen any of these movies.
Hyde Park on Hudson is a biopic of Franklin D. Roosevelt's affair he had with his second cousin.
Incest.
I know, right? Back when this wasn't weird, weirdly. Bill Murray plays FDR, and he fucking just is terrible at it. He was horribly miscast. This movie is it's pointless. It doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't feel right.
So like Bill Murray, I always say like a lot of comedians. I think you guys brought it up on the Uncut Gems episode that I listened to it on my way up to Texas. Yeah. A lot of comedians make great dramatic actors. Bill Murray is the exception.
I've heard good things. I've not yet seen Lost in Translation or Broken Flowers, but I've heard he's lights out in those movies. So I don't blame Bill Murray. I just think this was not the right project for him. I've never thought I don't think anyone ever thought he should play FDR.
No, because it doesn't even remotely look like FDR. And I know like they can do like makeup and wigs and all that stuff, but I don't see making Bill Murray look like FDR anytime soon.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Michelle. We're really fucking this up, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Because I'll say RIP, even though I haven't seen your movie. Sorry.
Finally, celebrated filmmaker Melvin Van Peebles has died at 89 years old. He directed Watermelon Man and Sweetback's Badass Song. He also played Dick Halloran in the 1997 miniseries remake of The Shining and appeared in such films as Last Action Hero, Jaws the Revenge, and Boomerang, among others. And this one hit the film industry pretty hard. He was a pretty revered, pretty respected filmmaker from the 70s. And this is his son, Mario Van Peebles, has been a pretty successful director and actor in his own right. And I'm sure his legacy speaks for itself. I've not seen his films, regrettably, but they are on my list. I would like to watch these.
Yeah, I haven't seen his films either. But that said, the reason I knew about him was because in film school, we studied him and what he did for independent cinema. So I had to watch a thing on it, and we actually I forgot what movie it was. It's a movie they made on the making of Sweetback's. I think his son made like a biographical film on it. That's what we watched.
Oh.
And it was really good and really enlightening to see like what he kind of showed that you could do, especially for a young filmmaker, just to get a movie made and that kind of sacrifice to make. And yeah, that one hit. I can definitely see where that one hit hard. He was a game changer in a way that like to the point that you didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? Like he did it so game changed so well. It's just like it happened and then it get talked about.
Yeah. Well said. So that's what happened last week in film. Let's do this thing. Top 10 horror films of the 2000s. We're not talking about the movies because we didn't see them. Fuck them. And this is going to be fun. We love doing these top 10s on Filmgazm. We did, Austin and I did a Dark Knight trilogy recast earlier this year on Sneak Preview, but that's really the only kind of off the wall thing we've done on this show. We've been pretty sticklers to the calendar, which regrettably we probably shouldn't have done. There's been some shit coming out this year that I don't think deserved our attention. So
yeah. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I mostly done stuff on the site. I know I did. I think it ended up getting some good traction. The top 10, like hottest women in TV or horror, something like that. It was definitely like, I think like what college age me doing something like that. But I remember I somehow got some traction.
Yeah.
That list.
People like countdowns. It's, those episodes are always exciting and get a bit of a reaction. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And I was very excited to do this because like I said, I know I did one, I think what was the one I did? Top 10 2010s.
Yeah. When you wrote in. Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote that one in and apparently Austin really loved it. And I remember when I did that, I put, spoiler for those who haven't seen that list yet, I put Upgrade as number 1. I remember when I put it, I knew I was going to get a little bit of pushback because I was like, I know this doesn't squarely fit into horror, but I really fucking like this movie. And sure enough, I remember you texting me going, "Upgrade, really? Number one, horror?" And I was like, I know, I'm aware.
Well, after watching Upgrade again for the show, I can say, like, I get it. There's horror elements in there. I get why that made your list. Austin, however, was super excited that that was in there. So,
Oh yeah, Austin was the only one that was like, "Oh my god, upgrades number one." Yeah, and that was my justification for that. And I was like, "Well, it has enough horror elements in it
yeah.
to just for me to count it."
I've got some movies on my list of today that are questionable when it comes to horror. Like, I'm interested to see what you think. You probably do agree they're horror, but some would maybe not. I've got one in here that could be considered a thriller, and one in here that could be considered.
I'm gonna punch you through my computer screen.
Just not to us, but like in the broad sense of what most people consider. We're rare in thinking thriller doesn't exist, but I got one potential thriller and I got one that's a comedy. So, yeah.
I know you said you might know mine, but I think I got some surprises for you. I'm not sure. I think I might have some surprises up your way.
Well, we will see. I have a feeling we're going to have some overlap. You've definitely seen more horror from this decade than I have, but what I've seen is pretty decent and enough for me to have a really vibrant top 10 here that I'm proud of. So let's get this thing started.
Yeah. Well, real quick. Yeah, I have seen a lot, but I mentioned it to you when I was coming up with it. It's because like this is when I was a teenager, so this decade's like really special to me because this is really like when I was like discovering all this stuff. There's a lot of different trends that happened in this era, from the remake craze to the J horror remake craze to the torture porn and a brief flirtation of the found footage before the 2010s hit. So it was a really interesting period of what we got and what I grew up seeing, and kind of shaped what I like about horror. So
that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, I knew this was going to be a personal one for you, which is why I think it's a great concept to kind of cut your teeth on with top 10s.
Yeah, and I do also have an honorable mention. I don't know if you had one, but I had one honorable mention on mine.
Oh. Go ahead.
So I did put, it was tough on this one, but I put Final Destination as an honorable mention. It just barely didn't make the list, barely. But I'm a real big fan of the franchise in general. So one of the franchises that I think has only one bad movie, and that's the Final Destination, this stupid ass 3D one with NASCAR. But I remember when I first saw this, I saw it on TV, and it just entranced me. The idea of like, if you escape death, it's going to hunt you down and get you still. Terrified me as a kid. I mean, just terrified me. And this movie has lasted to the point that like the sequel, right? There's the truck lock incident. I can't be behind a truck lock when I'm on the road. Like, that's how ingrained it is for me. I still, when I take planes for any kind of travel, because the first movie, I still have that moment of like, I swear to God, this plane blows up. Like, it's stuck with me for that long, this first movie. So that's, I had to put that in as my honorable mention.
That's great. I'm honestly surprised I didn't make your list. So now I have no fucking clue what to expect.
See, I told you you're in for some surprises.
I didn't initially have an honorable mention, but I'll shout one out. One that almost made my top 10, but was really admittedly too fucked up for me to want to go back to. 2009's The Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Oh, I saw that recently, and that was good.
That movie was really brilliant, but way too fucking real. And I gave it a 9. I thought it was an amazing film, but like one of the sickest, most uncomfortable, disturbing movies I've ever sat through. So I don't want to watch it again unless I absolutely have to. And there are these other 10 films I do enjoy. I've seen multiple times. I enjoy watching them. So that's what I took into account. Poughkeepsie Tapes will no doubt be done on the Filmgazm podcast in the future, be it by our pick or the book. It will happen. And I'll wait till that happens to watch this.
I won't spoil it here, but let's see if you get what I'm about to put down. The table scene in the living room.
Fuck me, man. That, oh my God.
God, when they revealed that, I was like, oh.
Ooh. That's the first time
Oh.
after I watched a movie, I looked up all the actors to make sure they were actors. I'm like, holy fuck, this is a snuff movie. I'm watching a goddamn snuff film right now. It was, yeah, bonkers movie. Did not make the top 10 because frankly, it puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, you gotta watch something else after that.
Yeah. Fuck. All right. Well, why don't you start us out with number 10?
All right, number 10. This is the only one that anyone listening might be. This may not be exactly horror. Only one on the list. Number 10, I put as a recent Filmgazm episode, Pitch Black.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Pitch Black has come back.
Continue.
So, for those who didn't listen to that episode, I saw this movie real young. Actually, so how I ended up seeing this movie was I was with a buddy, and his dad was like, "Hey, let's go to the video store and rent something." And so we went, and he kept coming up to me like, "Hey, have you seen this?" I was like, "Yes." And then he put the movie back because I guess he wanted to make sure we got something we both didn't watch. I think he went to like 5 or 6 movies of like, "You've seen? Are you kidding me?" And his dad's like, "Come on, find a fucking movie so we can go." He's like, "He's seen everything." And I guess it was like reaching max annoyance where he just looked to him, is like, right, grabbed Pitch Black, ran there from it. "Have you seen this?" I was like, "Oh no, I haven't seen that." And then that's what we brought home. And like the moment I sat through that movie, I fell in love. And this was before like I was a kid, so this was before Vin Diesel was Vin Diesel. And I just saw a guy that to me was doing a fucking damn good job in the role of Richard Riddick. Yeah, Richard Riddick. Yeah, Dick Riddick for Connor. But just really giving us this.
Richard Bruno Riddick. Don't forget that shit.
I tried. I keep trying to. But he gives this. He gives us to me one of the most coolest, most badass characters in horror. That like, I remember I wanted the eyes so bad as a kid. I was like, dude, how can I get those eyes? And just like that, and just like the plot and the world building for that movie, it just drew me all in. I've seen it tons of times. It's honestly the only Vin Diesel movie I'll defend to death. Like, you can make fun of all his other movies, fine. Say what you will about Triple X, Fast and Furious. Okay, cool. The Pacifier, I don't care. I'm defending Pitch Black.
Oh, I remember. That's there's again horror elements. I put it more in action sci-fi, but I get it. And while I may not care for this movie, I will defend to the death your right to enjoy this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is the only one that is like pushes that line we talked about earlier with horror.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm fully aware that this one has more of the elements and not necessarily full on horror. I think the only one that was to me full on horror was actually the third movie.
Okay. I don't remember it, but I'll take your word for it. Cool. All right. That's number 10. Goddamn. And that was you spent a good long time defending that film to death, and that's your 10. That's interesting. All right. So 9 through 1 must be just like diehard favorites.
Remember when you said you were going to guess this? You had an idea?
Yeah, I think I'm way off. My number 10 may surprise you. I don't know if you knew how much I liked this movie. 6 of my picks, by the way, are past Filmgazm episodes, just for information. This is a film that I had been told to see by you for quite some time. And then finally, we Josh and I did it on the show in your honor. 2006's Hatchet.
Yes, overlap already. I'm not going to tell you why I have it on mine, but
this movie is so goddamn entertaining from beginning to end. It's a horror kind of, extravaganza. There's so many nods to the slasher films past. The cameos they are able to get, like Robert Englund and Tony Todd, and it's just such a fun, entertaining bloodbath. I've never seen somebody's head just get ripped open at the jaw like that. And I got to say, well done. Victor Crowley, hell of a cool villain. And Kane Hodder did a great job. the bit with Tony Todd as the like witch doctor dude who got sued for endangerment made me laugh so hard.
That part was funny. The whole series has great parts. Like when we were dying laughing on the chicken and biscuits and gravy.
Remember Sid Haig? Can't repeat that bit of dialogue here, but goddamn, we had a good time with that. Yeah, I'm glad I marathoned that franchise. Hatchet 2, Hatchet 3, Victor Crowley, all 4 great movies. But the first one was a delight because I went in fully expecting to hate it. I went in expecting to be the guy who didn't like Hatchet and had to sit there while Josh just adored it. But thankfully, I found something in it. I really enjoyed it, and it's my number 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a fun movie. Like,
yeah,
Adam Green set out to make a fun movie that harkened back to the old slashers and was a treat for horror fans. And he, to me, not just met that criteria, he exceeded it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, my number 9. My number 9 is a special one for horror fans. It's 2 titans of terror finally duking it out, mano a mano, Machete versus Hand Claws. Number 9, Freddy versus Jason.
Very nice. I almost had that. I almost had it. It didn't quite make the cut.
Oh, it made it for me. I was actually a super late bloomer to this. I think I didn't see this film till like middle school. And I heard about it from kids that I had seen, like, oh, Freddy versus Jason, you know, like that schoolyard talk. But I saw it later and I just fell in love. There's a lot of people that try to like really down this movie, like, it's really not that good. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you don't like about it. I think it's incredibly fun. They find a really cool way to get these people together and they go all out on that finale with them fighting. I don't see how you can hate it. I think this is one of the best case scenario we could have gotten with these 2 guys duking it out. Yes, would have been better if they had gotten Kane Hodder to play Jason. I don't know why they left him out. Absolutely, but I still loved it.
Yeah, no arguments here. Freddy vs. Jason is a fun fucking movie. I remember very distinctly the first time I watched that movie. It was at a birthday party in 5th grade. I remember the kid's name. I don't want to say it in case it comes back to him, but I doubt it would. I was invited. I didn't really like the kid. I don't know why I was at the birthday party, but they were watching. They bought a movie on pay-per-view. They wanted to buy a movie, and Freddy versus Jason is what they bought. And I had never seen anything that hardcore before. And I was watching it, and within 5 minutes, there's tits, and I'm like, "This is the greatest movie I've ever seen." and I'm being honest here. I got nothing to prove. And it was around the moment where the boyfriend's friend, who like they were, in the mental hospital where he was killed. They got
like in the bathtub or whatever.
Yes, I don't remember he fell asleep and like he had the weird shit coming out of his feet.
Oh yeah.
That guy. When he died, and I realized I was the only person still watching this, and they turned it off because they wanted to play Grand Theft Auto, and I'm like, no, I'm into this, and it took a long time for me to finally finish that movie. I was really pissed.
I would have been so mad, dude. I think one of my favorite kills in both franchises in that movie, and it's when the douchebag boyfriend comes over at the beginning of the movie. And they're banging in the room, and Jason comes out of nowhere and just squishes them in between the bed, or him.
Yeah,
went to go shower, but that was such a gnarly death. I was like, dear God,
like stabbed like 6 times and then just crushed. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have set up a more unlikable dickhead for that to happen to. Babe, don't make me ask you twice. Like, just what a horrible human being.
Yeah, it was like, oh God, it was like every 80s like stereotype just came to force in that character for that movie. I mean, like you have that scene, you have the rave scene still stands out when Jason officially, like Freddy loses control of Jason. He just goes to town on those people. And then like I watched the bonus features, like the amount of like commitment to this being like an 80s style made film with the practical effects and stuff. We're still in, obviously including a lot of early 2000 stuff. Like there's a fucking a metal song that plays on the soundtrack. Like I love this movie so much. I'm sad that we couldn't get the sequel, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, whatever versus they were going to do afterwards, and they tossed out a bunch of ideals. But you know what? It took like 10 or so years to get this one. I'm fucking glad we got it.
I finally tracked down the graphic novel of Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, my holy grail. I finally found a copy. I splurged. Like I paid a lot for it. And I'm waiting to have some downtime so I can just sit down and enjoy that. Because I want to know, like, what were they going to do? And oh my God, that would have been the coolest horror movie ever made. Ash taking down Freddy and Jason. Oh,
dude, I read like the different like versus ideas they had. They were thinking about using Michael, obviously. Leatherface was another big thrown out ideal. Even Pinhead was thrown out. I think I don't know if it was a joke, but I think they threw out Chucky. They were just like, look, let's just look at all the horror icons. What can we do?
Pinhead, I think, makes the most sense. Leatherface, that fight's over in 2 minutes. He's just a feeble-minded dude with a chainsaw. That's not a fight.
All you have to do is get a woman with really nice legs, and all of a sudden he loses his mind.
Yeah. Oh my God. I would have had Freddy and Jason get like, frozen or something. I would have done the Jason X route and had them end up in the Alien universe.
Oh, that would have been all. I would have been out for that. Freddy versus Jason versus Alien versus Predator.
Oh, fuck yeah. Ridiculous. But yeah, great pick. Really fun movie. I can't wait to do that on Filmgazm. I know we have the franchise in order rule. We might make an exception for that.
I'm down. I'm always down to watch that movie.
Yeah, because I don't want to have to do all the Elm Street movies and all of the Friday the 13th movies just to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've done it. That's just because I was actually like watching them for the first time, so it's just how it happened. But I want to do it again. Like I'm just gonna pick one to watch.
That's like 20 weeks of podcasts before we get to Freddy versus Jason. Not worth it. So maybe we just do Freddy versus Jason.
I'm down with that.
Awesome choice. Great movie. My number 9 is a fun horror comedy from the one and only James Gunn, 2006's Slither.
Ooh, good one.
This is such a fun movie. I love horror comedies. When you can blend that perfectly, you have such a great movie on your hands. And Slither is it's creature feature meets ridiculous small town humor, and it works so well. The cast is great. The gore is fucking ridiculous. And it's got one of my favorite end credit song, Baby I Love You by the Yahoos, which is the only ever Babe We Need Space song I've ever heard. Check that out if you haven't heard it.
That movie is, oh God, James Gunn is just a fucking awesome director. I love that movie. My only gripe is the mayor's obsession with Mr. Pibb. I know you guys had the rant on the episode, but to add to it, yes, only Dr. Pepper is the only answer to your soda, not Mr. Pibb.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's yeah. That movie, you can see James Gunn's trauma influence, his roots. And I'm glad that Josh has pushed me to trauma, which is nice. I've seen some stuff now that I can, kind of reference. But Slither's just a blast and a great sci-fi horror movie. The slugs are freaky. Grant, maybe the best name ever.
Grant. Yeah. And look, like honestly, if you can stomach the gooiness of the gore, it's very gooey gore in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna have a blast. I know, like I say that because so my last day on the ship, I was on duty and I would put on a movie and I put on Slither, and this one guy who hates horror just would not shut up. He was like, dude, turn it up. Like wouldn't shut up. And I kept being like, dude, shut up and watch a movie. He's like, it's so gross. I'm like, well, because you don't get it. Like he also hated horror movies because he thought they were corny. I was like, that's because you're a fucking idiot. But
I get if you don't like horror movies because you get scared easily, that's fine. But if you don't like them because they're corny or stupid, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like, well, then, yeah, but then I had to sit through like all the Fast Furious films on duty one day because he wanted to watch it. But Yeah, no, it like if you can get past that, you're in for a treat. Personally, I think the Gary Gore adds to the fun of the movie. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it makes you kind of flinch and be like, holy shit, is this really happening?
Yeah, it helps like you said earlier, right? Horror comedy, like it's hard to pull those off a lot of time. Really, really hard. But if you do it right, it works really well. And I think a lot of times the key is you have to embrace both sides. You have to
Yeah,
embrace the horror, so that really gory moments in those movies. But then when the comedy hits, you fully embrace the comedy.
straight up. Great movie. Good time.
That was yeah, God, good movie. All right. Are we on to number 8 now?
Yes, we are.
All right. For my number 8, I want to preface with like for all the people out there who have their feelings about remakes, shut the fuck up. This is top 10 2000s, not top 10 horror films of all time. With that said, my number 8, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003.
Yep. No surprises here. I knew that was going to pop up.
Yeah. I have to preface because people are like, it's not as good as the original. This is not top 10 horror films. This is top 10 2000s. I will absolutely defend this remake. I love this remake. It was I actually saw this first. My dad let me rent it at the store one day when I was like burgeoning horror years, right? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I rented it, and I think I watched it within because the video store that we had, I can't remember how Blockbuster, but we had like the whole weekend thing. If you got on Friday, you had all weekend with it. I think I watched it like 4 or 5 times in one weekend. I just kept playing the fucking movie. It helped develop my crush on Jessica Biel big time in that movie. And I honestly think like other than the original, to me, this is my second or third favorite interpretation of Leatherface. I think the idea, I know like the biggest thing with like the 2000s horror remake craze was they kept making the villains hulking compared to their original counterparts. Whereas it didn't always work. I think in Leatherface's case, it actually works tremendously because of his character, because of how he's been portrayed in the past. It works to have him just be the big, scary, lumbering dude. And I think his name was Andrew Baranowski.
Yeah,
that played him. I think he did fantastic. I think he did a fantastic job in the role. His Leatherface scares the living shit out of me, straight up.
Yeah, well done. I remember watching this. I think you let me borrow this. You're like, you need to understand, and you handed me the movie, and I watched it at home, and I'm like, all right, it's not, it's nothing's gonna come close to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's untouchable, but for a remake, not bad, and that's surprising to me.
So, it understands what the original is. I think that's why, like, it understands what made the original movie work. And for the most part, it sticks to that. This movie's not actually that violent. It's much like the original. They hide a lot of the violence. But because of how they film it, you put a lot more in there. There are a lot more. It is more violent than the original, yes.
Well, I was going to say, I think more gory. I think the violence is pretty much at par.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, you see a leg come off, for Christ's sakes. But another thing I also really like about this film is that Arlie Ermy is fucking fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I think one of the scenes that like I remember as a kid it made me laugh, but now like my humor's gotten so sick it makes me laugh when he's taking the body out of the car and he's like, I have all the respect for the dead lady, don't you get it wrong. He turns around and goes, get that fucking body out of the back of my truck so it doesn't stink it up. Just immediately.
I think it's cool that, between Full Metal Jacket and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I can't think of anything where Arlie Ermy actually got to have a meaty role that wasn't just like a brief cameo or a bit part. So for him to actually have a substantial role as like the villain was awesome. And I totally bought his, demented, cannibalistic backwoods Southern sheriff. I got it. I believe that big time.
He sold it. That scene in the car when he makes the dude put the gun in his mouth, to me, is like one of the most intense scenes. Because she's just like, what the fuck I got in the mouth? Like, I'm like, oh my God.
That's one I like to, what? We did the first 2 Texas Chainsaws. And when it comes to remakes, as long as we do the first one first, I totally want to do the remakes. And maybe we do this in the near future.
I'll be down. Like I said, this is a remake I do defend. I do. Yeah, obviously I'm more into the original, but I do really, really like this remake. I think it's a remake that to me gets a lot of it right. the people behind it cared about the original film. It helped that they got the cinematographer back from the original for this one.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yep. He did the original film and the remake.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know. It just like, this was one of the few cases that Platinum Dunes fucking nailed it. So I love TCM 03 as I have it on my notes.
I will say I don't have any remakes on my top 10, but really that's because I don't like a lot of them, but I understand Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's one that does stand out.
I mean, it started the remake craze for the, like, I know there was like the J horror thing going on, but it started like the American remake craze, for lack of a better word.
I do have a memory of being in a movie theater in 2002. And our movie theater was a Regal theater attached to the Valley Mall in Hagerstown, Maryland. And we would walk up this big hallway to the box office, and the hallway had posters lined up, and we would see what's coming out. And then I saw the poster for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I had never heard of that. So I asked my mom, can we go see that? And she's looked at it and is like, oh, absolutely not. And I was like, I didn't know it was a horror movie because I didn't know what, I just saw Chainsaw, and I remember thinking like, oh, that's probably bad. That's probably bad for me. I didn't know what a massacre was. I was 8.
Chainsaw's a bad. Okay. Did you ever hear like the marketing story on this movie?
No.
So you know how they got this made? In one of the few genius moves ever done by Michael Bay. The trailer to get them the funding to make this was a black screen and just sounds of a woman screaming and running, and then silence for like 10 seconds. Nothing. Again, it's just all black screen, okay? And then out of nowhere, you hear a chainsaw revving, and it busts through the black screen to reveal the title. And that was the original. Like, it's on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah.
And that's how they got the movie sold. Like, that's what made them go, okay, let's go ahead and do this remake.
That's pretty awesome. He doesn't have a lot of moments, but that's a good moment for him. That's awesome. My number 8 is a film that's very dear to my heart because it is the second film that scared the absolute living hell out of me as a child. If you listen to the Filmgazm podcast, you may have heard our episode on Evolution. This is not that film. That's a sci-fi comedy. I am well aware of that. But it happened to me again a year later when my mom and dad took me to see Signs. A lot of people don't care for this one. I know.
I'll say I'm unfortunately on the camp of don't care.
I know.
Go ahead, defend your right to like this movie.
M. Night does not have a lot of good ones, and Signs to a lot of people is not one of the good ones. Admittedly, I probably would think the same thing if I hadn't had this happen to me when I was 7 years old. I saw the movie. It was PG-13. My mom and dad should have known better. Saying it here. I thought the movie was really boring up until the scene that is kind of the infamous scene of the movie. The news footage of the little girl's birthday party or the little boy's birthday party. And we get to see the alien for the first time. And the alien walks across the screen. Something awakened in me that scared the almighty hell out of me. I screamed, I ran. My dad took me into the bathroom to assure me it's just a movie. It's fine. It's okay. Aliens aren't going to get you again. I think we know what I was afraid of as a child.
Aliens
and monkeys. But this movie, I went back in and I just kind of sat there quietly. And then when Joaquin started beating the shit out of the alien with a bat, I was like, get him, like whispering, like, get him. And ever since then, I've had this weird fascination with this movie. I think the music is terrifying. I think the concept is so real. I think the way he does an alien invasion from the perspective of one family is so smart. I love the kind of crisis of faith happening in it. The idea that the aliens could be demons, if you look at it that way. And I just think it's a very unsettling movie. And that scene still gives me the willies. Like I still get goosebumps. It's cool. There's not a lot of films that scare me, but there's these fucking Evolution and Signs are always going to be there in my head, just constantly reminding me that they scared me as a child and they can still get me, they still get me. Yeah. So Signs, I couldn't do this list proper without Signs.
That's that's fair. I honestly, I'm not one of those like hates the complete movie. Actually, I'm pretty down for the movie all the way up to the twist. That's for me. I'm in that camp where like the twist kind of ruins it for me.
I get you. It's a stupid twist. I agree.
Yeah, but before that, I'm with you. Like the movie is showing what Shyamalan can do when he actually writes and directs a good fucking movie. And
the star of that movie is James Newton Howard's score. That music is bone chilling.
The music's creepy, and that scene honestly, it made me jump. I didn't get the visceral reaction that you did, but I do remember jumping quite high because to me it's like that Exorcist 3 scare where it's like you're not seeing it coming, it just happens, so you're not prepared.
Well, I love that the introduction of the alien, and it's not like Industrial Lights and Magic. It's not Independence Day. It's a little footage of a little kid's birthday party, and you just see it for half a second, just whoop, 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 and you're like, holy shit, this is happening. It's Jesus, man. Just I still can't watch that movie at night. I can't, even to this day. I can't watch that part. If it comes on at night, I'm closing my eyes.
So we got do we have to have a therapy session on that one too in the near future?
Oh, we're going to. Signs. That's happening. That's coming. Working through Evolution is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. That helped me a lot.
Should have had you pay for my services for that episode.
Oh, good times. Yeah, I can't wait to do that for Signs.
Yeah, and you know what? I am happy that you like it. Much like my Pitch Black listening, I am happy that you like it and enjoy it.
So much harder to defend M. Night Shyamalan and Mel Gibson. So I've got the harder job here, I think.
This is true. Vin Diesel not as hard to defend as those two.
Vin Diesel is not, as far as I know, an anti-Semite, nor is he a notoriously shitty filmmaker who keeps getting second, third, fourth, fifth chances.
Yeah, no, as far as we know, he's just kind of a douchebag, and that's about it.
Yeah, kind of a douchebag you can work with, but anti-Semite and shitty filmmaker, hard to argue that one. So I won't. All right. What you got for number 7?
Number 7 is a film that I have showed you recently. One of the many films you watched when you were at my place back in June. That recently. A movie that I really love. Again, it has much like Hatch has a lot from the genre, and that is Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. So much like how you say a lot of people twist, I am aware that a lot of people kind of drop off when it switches to more traditional filmmaking at the end of the film. Personally, I'm a big fan of it. So I know, I literally am like the guy that's like, I don't really like the twists and signs. And now I'm turning around defending what Behind the Mask does. I'm aware of this conundrum that's happening right now. But I think what I like about it is that the movie does such a brilliant job of setting everything up at the beginning with the documentary crew and the fun little nods to how they're doing everything with I gotta work on my cardio. They only run so damn fast. Like all these nice little nods that when they do switch to that, it works because you've had that setup. So then that's the payoff. Oh no, he's not trying to kill them. She's not the final goal, which I think that scene's hilarious. Wait, you're not a virgin? Oh God, no. But it's actually the main chick that we've been following the whole time.
Yeah.
So I for me it pays off. I think for me it pays off and I really enjoy it. And I think the guy who plays Leslie Vernon is great. I wish I could have seen more of him. I can't remember. I can't think of anything else he's been in. That could just be ignorance on my part. But I think he's fantastic. I think when good old Herschel from The Walking Dead pops up is fantastic. I think the idea that the serial killers are real, like Freddy, Michael, and Jason, we live in a world where they exist. So fucking smart, in my opinion. This is one of those movies that, to me, if we talk about horror comedies, it just works because it takes its horror seriously, it takes its comedy seriously, and it's also really smart. I love this movie.
Yeah, I know. I was into it. Really, you're right. Until it turns into a traditional movie, then I'm like, all right, I kind of lose interest. But up to that, it's really interesting. It's really smart, and it's funny how everyone's just willing to let this happen. That's the craziest part. This camera crew is just watching this guy prep for a murder rampage, and they're just like asking him questions, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I got to do this, or else they're gonna get away." Like, just okay. And I do think it is really cool that Michael, Freddie, and Jason, God damn it, that they exist in this world. I think is a really cool way to go. I'm still wondering how they got away with that financially, how they were able to pull that off.
I wonder if like just mentioning them is fine. You know what I mean? Like you can say it, but you can't. You can say it at least once, but you can't say it a lot.
That might be it. Yeah, they might have been able to like rent it or something.
Yeah. Because I did like along with that little cardio clip he makes. I always laugh at that part when he's describing like her escape, and he compares it to a vagina. In the birth, the way he does it, he's just so fucking funny because he's so sincere with this thing. He's like, yeah, it represents her vagina and her rebirth into the war. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. And you get cool cameos too. Like you get Freddy Krueger himself. Robert Englund pops up as his Ahab, which is the greatest thing. It's my Ahab. Zelda Rubinstein pops up as the librarian, which it's always cool to see her. So yeah, I saw this. I rented this off of Netflix. That's how I remember it was this movie I kept hearing about, and I got it off Netflix when my family switched over to Netflix, and that's how I watched. And I've loved it ever since. I am tired of hearing them talk about a sequel that has yet to happen, but they keep fucking talking about it.
Cool. I'm glad you find such enjoyment in this one. It's always nice to feel that passion come through. And I did enjoy it for the most part. I'd like to watch it again. Maybe I'll enjoy that next half again.
Yeah, like I said, I showed that knowing that was going to possibly happen because that's been a lot of people who see the movie.
Yeah,
it's almost like universally agreed that everyone loves the first half, and then you're on board when it does that switch, or you're not. Like it, I haven't seen anything in between yet.
Yeah, it's a good one though. It's a good watch. My number 7 should come as no surprise. If you're going to do a top 10 of horror films of the 2000s, if this isn't on there, the fuck are you doing? Saw.
Oh, overlap again.
Yeah, I know. If this wasn't on there, this is over right now. Saw 2004. Gotta go OG. I love the sequels, but there's something about the first one that is just so special. James Wan, the movie that pretty much got him, worldwide fame and acclaim from the horror community. Also jump-started Lee Winnell's career, gave Cary Elwes a boost, I believe. He wasn't doing too hot in 2004 till Saw showed up. And introduced the horror community to John Kramer, a.k.a. Jigsaw. And what a movie. I've seen this about 6-7 times now. It's one of those films that just never gets old. The cool thing about the Saw franchise is you can know all the twists, and they still are fun to watch.
Yeah. No, yeah.
All 9 films have something to offer. It's great, especially Charlie Clouser's music is what clinches it for me. Such a great score, intriguing, a little mysterious, but also very final. Like once the music starts picking up, you're like, oh shit, it's about to go down every time. All 9 movies have done this. It's great. And Saw is a classic. It's one of the few films on Filmgazm we've done twice. Once on my own, once with I believe the first one was Austin and Josh with me, and then 2 you got to do, right?
Yeah, because I was on deployment when you guys did the first one, and I came back in time for the second one.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too into detail on this because it is on my list as well. But I'll just give it a Saw as an undeniable classic. gave us James Bond, who's been just crushing it. For all those who are hating on Malignant, fuck you. It's a good goddamn movie. That's not at you, Connor. That's at the people I see online. They're like,
again, I liked it. Why does everybody think I hated Malignant? I gave it an 8. I enjoyed the movie. God damn it. Constantly. Oh my God. Setting the record straight here. I enjoyed Malignant. I gave it an 8. Enough said.
I'm really trying not to laugh right now. Oh, I want to laugh if you say this now. Then when we do like our top 10 for the year and Malignant's not on the list, and it's just like, oh look, you didn't like the movie.
Well, I can tell you right now, I liked it, but it is not making my top 10 of the year.
Oh, it's making mine. But no, yeah, it gave us James Wan and Leigh Whannell, who's been also crushing it. So yeah, this is another classic. Gave us a new icon of horror, the hottest franchise at the time it came out. I mean, I grew up knowing that every October I was getting a new Saw movie. So yeah, this is a big one. Again, I'll go a little bit more into my personally when I get to it on my list.
Of course.
So with that said, let's go on to 6, I believe. Yes. All right. So this one features director near and dear to my heart. One of my, I'll say big 3. I got one of each of their movies. You've already mentioned one of them in James Wan, but here's one of the big directors that I just love to death. And it took me a while to pick a movie in general that I wanted to include that I like, but this was the one I went with because this is the one I've kind of gone back to the most, that I just feel like it's a really fun movie for as dark as it is. So I know how fucked up I'm about to sound. But with that said, number 6, Hostel.
Oh, yep. I knew it.
Yeah. This is the Eli Roth film I chose. So with this one, I think what I like the most out of all his filmography, especially why I say like his great run of his first 3 films, is that to me, in a way, it really took his fear of traveling to an extreme. And I think I love how he structures this film, that the first half is them partying, having a good time, meeting these obnoxious Americans in a foreign country. For those who like boobs, lots of them in like the first 40 minutes of this movie. And then it just completely flips on a dime and becomes such immediate, just grim gore torture to the extreme. And I actually will say that Hostel did more for torture porn than Saw did initially, because Hostel came out of the gates when it was Saw kind of built up to it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and it just, I think this is like you can see a very hungry young Eli Roth in this movie, just putting it all out there. The gore effects still look so gruesome and grisly, and I mean that in a completely good way. Like, it holds up in that department. And it kind of made me scared to travel. I was like, I don't want to go somewhere foreign and get grabbed by some foreign torture group. I do. The only reason I didn't do part 2 is because that one actually took a while to grow on me. I remember I did not like part 2 at first, and then over the years it's grown on me, and I think it's a solid sequel. The less said about 3, the better. That one was shit. But OG Hostel.
Oof. This was a little too gross for me. The thing with the Saw franchise is, yeah, it's got grisly torture, but it's also got a very intriguing ongoing story. Hostel doesn't really have that. It's just watching dumbass Americans get butchered for an hour and a half, which is fine, to each their own. It wasn't one I went back to. I just didn't see a lot of, I didn't find a lot out of Hostel, but I know you've always had an affection for Eli Roth's films, and I get that. I just love that, like, every movie he's done is, don't go camping, don't go to Europe, don't go to South America. You can't even fucking stay home, or hot chicks are going to ruin your life.
I was going to say, Knock Knock showed you can't even stay home.
Yeah. What does he do at all? I mean, Jesus Christ. But Yeah, I knew Hostel was going to make your list. You love this movie.
I do it, and it's one of those like sometimes like in general like I get when people don't like my movies. Obviously, we're all human. We like different things. I really understand if people don't like Hostel. It's definitely one that while I love, I'm not gonna say be like, oh, you want to get into like horror and the torture porn genre? Let me go grab Hostel. Sit on that seat and buckle up, Buckaroo. Here we go. Because I know that like while they'll enjoy those first 40 minutes, once it does that switch, that's when it's like, you still with me there, bud? You're gonna make it through the rest of this movie? You're gonna watch that man's Achilles heel get like completely eviscerated, him try to get out, and then you see the quick shot of him disconnecting at the cut. You ready for that? Ready to see an eyeball dangling out of someone's eye socket? You ready?
It's I do like that it came from true events partially. Eli Roth learning about red rooms on the dark web and how people are paying millions of dollars to walk into a room and shoot somebody in the head. Like, whew. Yeah, I believe that this shit like this is happening. Rich people kidnapping people who won't be missed and torturing them because they want to feel like, they want to feel what it feels like to hurt somebody, to kill somebody. That scene with the one guy, he was in Monk. He plays like a douchebag all the time, and he's like getting himself pepped up to like, I'm gonna do it. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna burn him. I'm gonna cut him. What am I gonna do? And the other guy's like, why don't you make it quick? And he's like, yeah, make it quick. What? No, it's a bad idea. That's terrible. He's so fucking hopped up. That scene made me laugh. But yeah, it's a weird, wild, fucked up movie, and you really got to be prepared for what you're going into. You don't just flip on Hostel out of curiosity. You got to know what that is before you start watching it.
Yeah, that's like it's for me. Yeah, I can totally flip it on. I'm fine.
Yeah,
but like I completely understand. Like it's not something I would just immediately try to be like, let me just fucking show you this movie. Because yeah, one, you have to be prepared for torture. Two, not to be like that what virtue seeking dude, but it being like a young Eli Roth in the 2000s, there is dialogue that if you're not down for it, it will fucking offend you.
You gotta just, with that shit, you gotta just realize this was 2005. You gotta lock that shit up. You gotta keep it in 2005 and watch it that way. Otherwise, you'll never be able to watch anything before like 2015.
Yeah, look, I am totally with you. I'm just saying, like, definitely know your audience on that one, because Eli Roth didn't care about certain words at all.
Yeah, but that's not a surprise. Look at him.
Yeah, and also, like, look, I'll defend it in this case. It's about a bunch of obnoxious college dudes. What the fuck do you think's coming out of their mouths?
I'd argue that he goes out of his way to make these guys unlikable so that you don't feel bad when they get tortured, that you are intrigued.
So that was the thing. So I watched the bonus features on this Blu-ray, because I have the Blu-ray of it, obviously. When he was talking about what he wanted to do to make the movie, he brought up the red rooms. He brought up the idea that like even like porn was becoming more and more extreme. And that's why he made, if you notice, the film escalates, and that's why he said like it starts out like it's happy and there, there's boobs and sex and fun stuff, and then just boom. And he said when it came to the American characters, and he was again told like, oh, why are they so obnoxious? Some people was like, that's the point. He's like, I need them to be obnoxious. They're representing that obnoxious American coming to a foreign country and being arrogant, which is what people conceive us as.
Yep. So nobody wants to watch 2 hours of nice people getting tortured by psycho businessmen. That's horrible. But assholes, yeah, people will watch that.
Yeah, it takes the edge off a little bit.
That's great. Yeah, good pick. Honestly, I thought that was going to be your number one. So now I don't know what to expect.
I told you you're in for a surprise here, buddy.
Very nice. Okay, so my 6. The 2000s wasn't the best era for Stephen King adaptations, but we did get some gems. And 2007's The Mist is one of those gems. This is one of the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching horror movies ever made. The ending to this motherfucker hurts so bad. But everything building up to that is one of the most well-adapted King stories ever, and no surprise coming from Frank Darabont. I think who I think should be the only guy who gets to touch Stephen King's work. But yeah, The Mist is such a great depiction of just society crumbling and people listening to the wrong people and just what happens when emotions run wild in a crisis. And the scariest thing about this movie are not the monsters in the mist, it's the people in the store who are manipulating the situation to become powerful. Fantastic movie. I love it to death.
Yeah, you know what's funny? When I first saw this film, I hated it because of the ending. Initial reaction was like, fuck this movie.
Yeah, that's the reaction you have. You're like, how could you fucking do this to me?
Yeah. But then like I rewatched it and I was like, you know what? I kind of fucking like this movie. It's like, and like once you realize, like, you're like, you know what? The ending kind of works better than admittedly the short story's ending.
Yeah, King thought that too. He told Darabont, like, your ending's better.
Yeah, like it's not the payoff you want, it's the payoff you need. And it's such a gut punch. Like, it's one of those, like, to the point that, like, as much as I love that movie, if I watch that, I have to know that I'm going to go do something joyful in my life right after.
Oh man, yeah. The performance, I think Thomas Jane is amazing in this movie. Just the things he has to do, what he has to go through are gut wrenching. And I was very impressed. And then Marcia Gay Harden plays such a psycho so well.
God, she is. Oh,
God, Mrs. Carmody, one of Stephen King's most evil, scary villains, I think.
Yeah. You know, well, that's the thing that I think, like, when you mentioned like Frank Darabont should be the only one, he gets what actually makes King work. And it's not honestly the horror. Like, he's a very great horror writer, but what makes that work so is what he's truly the best at, and that's characters.
Yes.
The man knows how to write characters, and Darabont gets that in all his adaptations he's done of King.
Yeah.
So,
and not just that, but also just taking the story and putting it on film, not adding his own shit, not trying to, act like he knows better than King, but just taking the story and translating it. He did that with Shawshank, Green Mile, and The Mist, and all three were fucking great.
Yeah. Unlike the very short-lived Mist TV show on the defunct Spike TV.
I didn't even bother. I'm not going to ever.
Yeah, I'm not watching that. No, this movie, yeah, dude, like the creature effects in this movie are actually like not bad. I know a lot, it seems like a good chunk was like CGI, but it still holds up. Like, a lot of it still looks really good.
Well, it's, the idea of a crack in reality is formed, and these are creatures from beyond the next dimension. And if you're a King fan, you know what these are, you know where they come from. And it's cool to have that connection. And they look free, they're Lovecraftian tentacle giant behemoths. It's frightening. Yeah. And I love that. But also the idea that you don't know what you're capable of until you're faced with a situation like this. People who are just your neighbors, people who are just the kind old woman down the street, or the religious, God-fearing maniac, or just the plumber, or the butcher. If they're trapped in a scenario like this, they become different people. They become monsters. They become soldiers. They become demons. And it's all a matter of when. And I love the slow burn of The Mist. It starts out with just like, we're going to go get help and everything's going to be fine. It's just it's a bad weather. And that turns into, we must kill the boy. It's the only way. It's fucking crazy. But it all makes sense. You believe the buildup. It's perfect.
I think, to me, like, one of the most terrifying scenes in that movie, and this was before I joined the military, so it's not because I'm in the military, but when she convinces everyone that poor military dude was the cause of it, because he talked about them doing experiments at the base, which, FYI, look, I'm not spilling secrets here. Most military bases do secrets, okay? It's fucking military, guys.
Yeah, of course.
And then they get him, they fucking throw him out there to get, like, taken by those things, and it's just like, that, to me, like, that scene really stood out to me. Even like as a kid, I remember just being like, oh no, he didn't do anything.
For me, the hardest moment is at the end when the truck full of survivors drives by, and Melissa McBride is in the truck, and she took off at the beginning of the movie. And if they just left with her, everything would have been fine. Oh, that movie, it's such a great movie to watch, but you really gotta prepare yourself. Like, I'm gonna watch The Mist today.
Prepare yourself, and if you have children, kiss them and tell them you love them.
Yeah.
The love of God.
Ooh, brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. With that, for not number 5. This is the first overlap I talked about. This is Hatchet. I had it at number 5. So for me, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I just, Adam Green, he to me is a really awesome independent director. Like what he does for the genre, what he does with his movies, I loved everything he touches. And it all started here with Hatchet, and I remember seeing this again. It was kind of like Behind the Mask. When I was a kid, I went on sites like Bloody Disgusting and tried censoring myself all the time. I remember when I finally get my convinced my mom to give me a subscription to Fangoria before when I would print the first time. And that's how I found out about stuff. I'd hear about it all the time on the site and be like, oh, I really need to check this out. And that was Hatchet. Everyone talked about it all the time. And around the time the second film was coming out, and it was the big push to get, released in theaters, unrated, and all that stuff was happening. I was like, well, I really want to see this first movie. And I, again, Netflix, watched it, and I fell in love. From the great mixture of comedy with the horror, with the most insane gore that at that time, to me, the most insane gore I had witnessed in film. Because I was just like, oh my God. Like you said, when you said the thing with the head getting split open, I remember just my jaw as a kid dropped on the floor, just, oh my God. And this movie just hits. And like I said, the cameos for, Robert Englund, Tony Todd, Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley, John Carl Biegler. I probably butchered his last name somehow, as always. Pops up for a quick little cameo. Like, this film is just, it's made by a horror fan, meant for horror fans, and it shows in every frame of this movie, and it's continued to show in every single sequel that we've gotten since. So I fucking love Hatchet.
Yeah, I loved watching all of them with you. They were fun as hell. Yeah, I knew this was going to be on there. I'm glad it was.
Yep. It was in the top 5, the big dogs now.
Yeah, we're in the big 5. My number 5 is one of the creepiest, most wacko ghost movies I've ever seen. And of course, it's also going to come from the mind of Stephen King. 2007's 1408. This movie is so damn scary. And for a PG-13 ghost movie, I did not have very high expectations in regards to, fear. But this thing got under my skin immediately and has become one of my favorite ghost movies. It's such a cool and easy premise. John Cusack's a writer who debunks haunted houses and finds out, about this one in New York, and is told by so many different people, don't do this. Don't stay in that room. And of course, he thinks it's all bullshit. So he's like, give me the key or I will sue you. And Sam Jackson's like, all right, I warned you. He goes in there and his entire life is turned upside down. And the whole time you're like, is he ever going to get out? Did he get out? Is he still in there? What's going on? It's great. It's so creepy and like a really fun movie to watch around Halloween. I definitely do every Halloween. I just bought it for the Vudu account. So if you don't have it, like, you can watch it there. But what a great movie.
Pick it up.
Great movie.
No, I'm with you. This is like a standout Stephen King adaptation. The way they play with space and time, and to get inside his head to realize that he is literally in a situation where he is trapped in that room.
When he opens the window to try to get the person's attention, and it's him.
It's just this movie is just so unsettling. And then like you said, that buildup, like that John Wick style buildup of like, you don't want to go in that room. Even Sam Jackson's like, look, we do not rent this room to people. We don't want people going there. We've had too many incidents. Like, Oh yeah, this is very under to me. It's almost become like an underrated Stephen King. I would say like no one really talks about it. I don't get that. And John Cusack is fucking great in this movie.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not a big Cusack fan, but he's fantastic in this. You are just with him the whole time, so I'm glad he was good. But I believe that he's a burned out writer who doesn't believe in anything anymore. And of course, that's the guy who's going to meet real evil for the first time.
Yeah, and I think it works too because with casting him, I mean, you had like one of the biggest 80s, 90s actors at that time that wasn't really doing a lot at that point in his career in that 2000 period, playing a character that kind of, reflected his own self. And I think he was able to really tap into that for the performance, and it shows because I thought he was fucking fantastic. Like you said.
The scene where he gets out and like he's at the beach with his wife and they're like reconnecting and he goes to the mailbox and all of a sudden the walls fall down and he's still in the fucking room and he starts screaming like, I was out. Oh my God.
Was it the theatrical endings? This is one of the few cases where I don't really like the director's cut ending all that much. The one where it's like, I think it's like a ghost pops up in his fucking car. It's kind of stupid. But the theatrical one where it's like he plays a tape recorder to his wife because she doesn't believe him and he fucking plays it and he can hear his dead daughter's fucking voice. Oh, like what a way to send chills right up your spine right before the credits roll. And that look he gives her like, yeah, you believe me now?
I prefer the theatrical ending as well. I don't think I've seen the director's cut. But that doesn't sound great.
Yeah, I think I would have to relook it up. I remember something like he thinks he gets out, he gets in the car, and he sees like a ghost of his daughter there, and he turns around and I think he like pops back in the room or something. Like it didn't sound great. I don't know if the studio mandated or if he just was like, maybe let's try this ending instead.
Yeah.
Because I mean, admittedly, this is a case where like I'm all for like the nihilistic, like bleak ending. They don't bother me. But in this case, I was happy to see a good ending.
I needed to know he got out of there. It's you get invested in it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I need to know that he survived.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad. I wanted to shout that out because you're right. People just don't talk about this movie enough.
Oh, it's like it's weird because like the Mist. I've heard plenty of people keep talking about the Mist and love for the Mist still going. But like 1408 for some reason just kind of slipped, and I was like, yeah, I remember watching and going, this is really good. I don't see why no one's really talking about it. It's a great fucking movie.
Yeah, my grandma who never watches horror movies, she hates them so much. She gets so easily scared. My uncle took her to see this thinking it wouldn't be that scary. They were wrong. And we bring that up all the time. It's one of his biggest fuck ups. We talk about it whenever this movie comes up. Every Halloween, we're like, hey, want to watch 1408 again? Yeah. So, good times.
Oh, that's good. All right. Number 4. All right. This one is an upcoming episode, Connor.
Is it?
It is.
Hmm.
It is a movie that has stuck with me since the first day I've watched it, much like the other ones I've already mentioned. But it's a favorite. It's my personal favorite from this director. It does such a great job being horrific before the scary shit actually happens, and then just ratchets up when the scary shit happens. And that would be Neil Marshall's The Descent.
We have overlap.
Oh, damn.
So I'll save my bit. Take it away.
All right. For me, God, where do I even begin? So, like, I had seen Dog Soldiers on TV first. And I remember going, oh, I really like this movie. Not knowing that it was the same director. And then, like, this came out, and this was a case where, like, it came out, and I distinctly remember so much about it. And I, again, rented it, watched it, and I fell in love. Like, he does such a great job of first doing, to me, like 3 things within this movie. First is setting up the characters.
Yeah.
You get a very distinct look into the relationships, who these people are, why you should care about them before the plot really kicks in. And then the second part is that he does a great job of claustrophobia and fear before the fucking monsters even come in. I remember watching this. The first time I watched it, being a kid, I was like, I want to watch it in my room, turn the lights off. And I did that. And I remember watching it, and I felt claustrophobic in my fucking room watching this. I was just like, I feel kind of off. Like, I'm in a wide room, but them in these caves make me feel like I'm closed in now. And then, like, when he finally gets to the monsters, it's like, this could have been a part that could have gone the other way so easily, right? Like, all this great buildup, all this great character work could have quickly gone away, but it doesn't. He just ratchets it up even more and goes for broke with that ending, and it just works so well because he commits to it, and I love the commitment. And God, there's so many great scenes like you got the fucking scene where she gets stuck and they're scrambling to get her out. That's terrifying. Even little scenes when they're like, what do you mean there's not a fucking map? You don't know this cave? Like, I was the viewer and I was scared for them because I put myself in that situation. Like, I'm spelunking with them, and now you're telling me, no, I don't know the way out and we're stuck. What?
If nothing else, that movie taught me always tell at least one other person where you're going.
Yes. And and then there's the creature effects are so fucking good in this movie. Like, they're good, and then the gore. Ooh, Carnage Candy when that pops up is stellar and very influential. People don't realize it, but that whole scene where she falls into the pool of blood and then like her head comes out, Tomb Raiders copied that. Like, so many movies and TV and games since have copied that fucking scene because it's just so fucking good. And the less said about the super shitty sequel, the better. I know you're going to do research for the upcoming episode, but have fun with that, buddy. Again, this film has two different endings. For those who wonder why I lay in the British ending. I believe is the one where she is revealed to actually still be stuck down there. I think that's the better ending. I know I literally just said, but fortunately I wanted the happy ending. In this case, because of what the movie's doing and its themes, I actually feel cheated when she in the American ending. It doesn't need a happy ending. This movie's British ending is the one to go for because it fits the rest of the film we're given.
Yeah, I want an ending that works for the movie, regardless of whether or not it's happy or sad. It needs to make sense for the whole film to end on. And just that. I'll save my piece, but I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, I should have known when I saw this. I was like, oh, this might be overlap because I know how much you like this movie too.
I do.
So
I really do.
Yeah, remind me, this is my number 4. So just wait. Oh, my top 3 now, buddy.
My number 4 is another movie that I didn't expect to be as scary because it was PG-13, and I usually think PG-13 kind of holds back what a film is capable of, especially with horror. But holy shit, did Sam Raimi take this PG-13 movie to the extreme with 2009's Drag Me to Hell. That movie is so fucking unnerving. A great ghost, kind of demon movie about this lady who pisses off the wrong gypsy woman and gets cursed to be dragged into hell in 3 days. And the journey there is quite interesting. It's just watching her deal with jump scares and monsters and Sam Raimi-esque goat creatures as this shit just keeps happening to her. And it's so creepy. The music is brilliant. And again, an ending that is just makes sense and is so fucking like, wow.
Oh, dude, that ending still, like, it's seeing Justin Long's face.
Yeah. Just from like, hey, I found my I found your button in my car. Do you have my coin? Like, just knowing, like, oh my God, you're just like, what? Oh no. And then it just happens, and you're just, oh my God. That movie, I think, is one of the most like brilliant depictions of what you can do with a PG-13 rating and still pull off a brilliant, scary horror movie.
Yeah, no, to me, like I actually watched this with my family. I remember I was like that guy. I was like, oh my god, drag me to hell, and I convinced my whole family to watch with me because it was PG-13, and I think I was the only one that had fun the entire time.
Oh boy.
But
Yeah, I saw this
no,
with my mom. We had a good time.
I think like Sam Raimi really proves that no, he can do more than just Evil Dead, right? He can really push the limits of a PG-13 rating and a fun horror film. So he just traded in the blood for a lot of gooey effects there. Um,
The scene where she like it's the demon like shoves her entire arm into her mouth is just God.
you know what scene grossed me out when like the embalming fluid got on her when she flipped the fucking casket over, and I'm just like, oh, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, there's so many gross out moments. This feels like a spiritual successor to Evil Dead.
Yeah,
And
I think
it,
I think one thing that kind of like only bugs me, it's more like the horror community. Sometimes I feel like, whereas the horror community has like really claimed this film, I feel like mainstream artists have like let Evil Dead overshadow this movie.
yeah.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, Sam Raimi did this," and it's like, yeah, he does more than just Evil Dead and Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. I mean, watch Drag Me to Hell, watch Darkman. Like the dude is a talented filmmaker, Quick and the Dead. Like, he's done some cool shit. And yeah, I love Evil Dead too, but he is more than that. And
Yeah.
Drag Me to Hell showed just what else he can do. And I hope he brings some of that flavor to Doctor Strange too.
Oh, dude, same, same. And I think what made to me like Drag Me to Hell so special is that it was marketed smartly as Sam Raimi's return to horror, because it was off of the third Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So he was done with Spider-Man, and it was like, I remember hearing about that. The horror community was just like, oh my god, Sam Raimi's coming back to horror. He's directing a new horror movie. Like, people were losing their fucking minds because it's Sam Raimi coming back, not to do Evil Dead, an original horror film that he came up with.
Yeah. Oh, what a blast, this movie. So much fun. Creep. I did it. Austin and I did it on Filmgazm early on. And I watched it kind of forgetting just exactly how like fucking scary it was. And I had a moment of like, whoa, and turned on the lights in my apartment. And I was just like, I can't do this in the dark. It really freaked me out. I was impressed. Oh, very good.
Very, very good. All right. Top 3.
Ooh.
Number 3 is a film that is a part of my rotation every October. I love this movie. I have various merchandise. It has one of the cutest mass murders in all of horror history. Number 3, Trick or Treat.
Yep. Great. Fantastic. Take it away.
This is one of the best examples of how to do an anthology movie. Instead of a wraparound story, it weaves in and out of various stories, which I love. Everything feels connected and it's done very well. And to me, of all, we always have those films we watch on Halloween, right? We always have our October rotation. I have mine, you have yours, Josh has his, and I'm sure Austin has his as well. To me, out of all those movies I've watched, though, very few of them evoke the Halloween spirit. And this movie does that so well. It's not just a horror movie, it is a Halloween movie to me. And again, like Sam, I know he's murdering people, but he's fucking adorable.
Yeah.
That little sack is the cutest goddamn thing ever. And it's just like, and if you like, and I love to defend this movie a lot too, because it got so mistreated by the studio. Like, it should have been a theatrical release, but they didn't believe in it, so they sent it straight to fucking DVD, because they were like, oh, no one's going to watch it, just quickly dump it out there on DVD. It became a massive hit beyond the horror community. Like, it latched on. Like, people were like, why didn't this get released in theaters? To the point that, Sam is an icon of the genre now. This movie is going to be considered a classic whenever that time period hits for it. It's viewed. I'm not the only one that watches it every Halloween. Tons of people do. I mean, this film, and it keeps getting a sequel that keeps getting teased that we have yet to get. But like, this film became such a huge hit and just a triumphant victory of like, fuck you, you don't always know what you're talking about, studio. And I love this movie to death. I can't wait to watch it this October since that's coming up.
Yeah, Trick or Treat's a fun movie. It's maybe the only time I've ever seen somebody killed with a lollipop.
Yeah, I think so. Or a werewolf transformation scene while Marilyn Manson's Street Dreams is playing.
Yeah. Oh, this is a good one. This was our I think the first October for the Filmgazm podcast. We did this film for you. You requested it, and we had a blast. We got to talk about the origins of Halloween and the whole where jack-o'-lanterns come from. That idiot stingy Jack who kept fucking with the devil. One of my favorite stories I ever found out for this, and just a blast talking about that movie. And Austin loved it, and I enjoyed it, and I keep meaning to pick it up. I definitely would like to watch that again this Halloween. Yeah, totally. One of your favorites. Knew that was coming. Top 3 makes sense.
Yeah, I love this. And like the little girl in that one, and the story about them tricking her with the school bus of kids.
Yeah,
I hope my daughter's like that. She was adorable. I want that to be my daughter. If I ever have one.
Your kid's gonna be the biggest horror nut the world's ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
My number 3 is one we've already brought up, The Descent. This, like, you covered up pretty much everything I was gonna say. It's the claustrophobic nature, the brilliant characters, the creature design, and just the idea of, being trapped underground for miles away from anybody is so terrifying. The tightness of the path is so creepy and cringy, and just their the relationship being fractured with this as we go along is so realistic. But more than anything, it's just how unbelievably frightening this movie is. I watched this for the first time with my dad. It was the day before I moved to Texas. My dad drove up to our house from Virginia Beach to spend a couple days with me. And he brought a whole bunch of horror movies. And we had a triple feature of Resident Evil, Paranormal Activity, and The Descent. And this was in the middle of the night in an empty house, which was not... The Paranormal Activity got under my skin, but The Descent fucked with my head.
Yeah, dude. Especially like if you have a good sound system, because if you like the sound quality, that's something I forgot. Sounds on this movie when the creatures come to play is top notch. Like, have a good sound system for this movie, you will be rewarded.
It's been a minute since I watched this. I'm saving my next watch for the upcoming episode. But if I recall, the creatures come out of fucking nowhere, right?
Yeah. So there's there's this scene where they're in this big pit and they're recording on the camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That part.
Like, hey, wait, do you hear that? And she flips the camera to her friend, and it's just standing there behind her. I jumped so fucking hard in my room when I saw this for the first time.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I think it made my bed shake. I was just like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, I love this. I have a British version of the Blu-ray, so it's like the default ending, and it's just such a brilliant tale of isolation, of claustrophobia, of trusting the wrong people, of being trapped with monsters, of like just. I remember there's a scene where somebody like breaks their leg and you see the bone and they're fucked. It's just God. And I love that, like, you don't even need the monsters for this to be an absolutely terrifying horror film, but the monsters are just gravy.
Yeah. It's literally like just cherry on top. Just you're already fucking kind of tense doing all that claustrophobia and then being stuck. And then he's just like, oh, you also want monsters to add to this fucking nightmare of a situation?
Yeah. What a movie. What a powerful, terrifying movie. And I can't wait to show. I think my mom's kind of the only person I can watch horror films with because the rest of my family can't fucking handle it. So I don't think she's seen this one. So maybe this October is the time to show her The Descent.
do it. Plus, I hate to do this, but it's like the last great film I've watched personally from Neil Marshall. I'm still waiting for him to give me something awesome since The Descent and Dog Soldiers.
Yeah, and I really like Dog Soldiers. I'm glad you showed me that one. Didn't quite make my list, but it is a badass werewolf movie.
Yeah, I told you, man, it's a fun fucking werewolf movie.
Very nice. Top 2. What do you got?
All right. For number 2, it's another director I love, To Death. He's currently working on a new movie that I will not name until I name the movie.
I know exactly
So
what
you might know who exactly I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a world famous musician that I love to death. And this is his magnum opus. Number 2, The Devil's Rejects.
Yep. Oh boy.
This is another movie, much like Hostel. I won't just throw willy-nilly to a newbie because they may not be prepared. But if you are prepared, you're in for a treat. You're in for a movie that is so fucking tense throughout. Great performances across the board from the cast. Some of the most disturbing fucking scenes you will watch. For those who want to know what it looks like when someone puts a gun in someone's underwear, this movie does it. And so many iconic lines that I still remember, mainly thanks to Bill Moseley's character. But this movie just rocks. And I highly recommend you check out House 1000 Corpses first, because it's actually the first movie. And you'd be surprised that this was the style that he went for the sequel, because it's such a tonal shift from that first movie, and it works. To me, like Rob Zombie, as much as I have liked a lot of his stuff post Devil's Rejects, this is to me his magnum opus, like the best he's ever done. I'm thinking Monsters might be like up there. I think he might have some good shit when we get the Monsters movie sometime next year, I'm assuming. But this has been always one of my favorites, of my favorite film of his.
You think Bill Moseley's going to play Herman Munster or Grandpa Munster?
Grandpa.
He's got to be in that movie.
He has to be. You know, Rob Zombie works with the same people. You think he'll be like the beard and everything for the movie?
The Devil's Rejects. I saw this movie with zero context. My uncle watched it and for some reason recommended it to me. I don't know why. This was back when it just came out. It just came out on DVD, and my uncle rented it from, I think like he rented this from Blockbuster, or this was like right when Netflix was getting going. But we had a copy in the house, and I watched it, and I was like kind of like disturbed the whole time. Like, what is this? Why are we enjoying this? And the scene where they like Otis and they take the like country singing family hostage and cuts off the guy's face and makes the girl wear it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then how it turns into a revenge thriller with the Firefly family becoming the victims. That was so cool.
Yeah.
And
he expertly flips it and makes you kind of care about these horrendous people, because the sheriff is so fucking nasty too in this movie. I'm looking it up right now because it's fucking evading me.
I think it's William Forsythe. I think it was.
William Forsythe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay, thank you. I'm fucking mind blanking. But honestly, William Forsythe and Bill Moseley are my two favorites in this movie. They fucking crush it. When William Forsythe has that great line where he gets mad that Groucho Marx dude. Apparently he doesn't he insults Elvis. And then he makes him leave off. He's like, fuck Groucho.
I remember it's been a good long while since I've seen this movie. I'm honestly surprised you haven't brought this to the podcast yet.
We have to do films in order, remember? So technically I gotta do House of 1000 Corpses first.
Why haven't you brought that to the podcast yet?
Building up to it. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I remember the soundtrack is so impeccable. The Freebird scene is fucking art. It's an incredible ending, which I think is kind of, ruined a little by the existence of a third movie.
Just don't watch Three from Hell.
How the hell did they survive a hail of gunfire like that?
I was really hoping for a solid like tonal shift explanation, and I got Devil's Rejects Part 2.
Oh, okay. That's a bummer. But yeah, Freebird, Terry Reid's Seed of Memory, one of my favorite songs in the end credits. It's such an odd movie. It feels like it's a Rob Zombie take on a crime drama almost, but of course it's a horror movie because it's Rob Zombie. But it feels like if he was going to do a crime movie, this is what it would be.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that.
I thought that might have been your number one also. So really, I have no fucking clue what your number one is.
Look, I actually, my number one and my number two here, I was like, oh shit, how am I going to do this? Because it took me a while. I was debating it for a while. Because I do love this movie. I love this fucking movie to death. It did kind of ruin Tommy Pickles for me because I found out that you remember the scene where they're at the whorehouse and the chick's talking about giving a hand job, a very detailed explanation. That actress voices Tommy Pickles, and someone told me that. And I was a massive Rugrats fan as a kid. And I just went, oh God.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's also where I got the line, you want to see badass motherfucker? I'll show you badass motherfucker.
Yeah, I think it's time. It's been 16 years since I saw The Devil's Rejects. I think it's time to watch it again.
Exactly. And then you can, walk around going, tutti fucking fruity all day. Or, Sid Haig, that clown scene. When you remember the scene with the kid, he's like, do you like clowns? I better fucking come back. You better have a good fucking reason why you don't like clowns.
It's so over the top. My God, but it weirdly works. I don't understand how that movie works, but it does.
It works so well. He has a whole scene with the guys talking about chicken fucking, and it's hilarious. I'm just saying, he looks like he fucks shit. I don't fuck chickens, you fuck chickens.
Oh my God, what the fuck? Yeah, all right. I gotta go back to that one. Mine, yeah.
Such a great movie.
Well done. My number two is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite horror comedies ever made, and the beginning of one of the most flawless trilogies in film history. 2004's Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, solid.
Oh my God, what a fantastic movie this is. A celebration of zombie films. So many little nods, like the restaurant being called Fulci's, like little things like that. It's such a fun movie and does not skimp on the gore. It's a full-blown horror movie that just happens to be a zombie rom-com in the middle of it. It's funny as hell. The characters are vibrant and unforgettable. It's got I've adopted fuck a doodle do into my vernacular. This is something I say now.
I think one of my favorite lines was "Get fucked, Four Eyes."
Oh my God.
I always like the scene where they're passing the group that looks exactly like them.
Would anyone like a peanut? There's so many lines in this movie.
You got right on you.
But also like the scene where he has to shoot his mom is so heartbreaking and done so well as a real moment it becomes a full-blown horror movie there. And David trying to take charge of the group, and it works, but then you got Ed's whole obsession with Sean's mom is so funny. Just it's such a fun movie. I watch that movie every couple months. It's just comfort food to me. All three of the Cornetto trilogy are comfort food to me. Shaun of the Dead's where it began, and I know that the Giggle guys covered this a few months ago, But I want to bring this one to Filmgazm because I want to talk about this in depth. I love this movie to death.
No, it's such a good movie that gave us so much talent. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, we got Simon Pegg and Nick Frost out of it. We got Edgar fucking Wright. Like it really, like, for all of them, it was what I would say the most perfect showcase. I know they did Space, so before anyone comes at me, I know Space, they did that before this.
Yeah.
But on I guess more grand scale, if you will, really showcased their talents and paid off. And then because now there are fucking big time players in the industry.
As well, they should be. They deserve it. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I still laugh to say at the record scene when they're throwing the records. Batman soundtrack, drunk it.
Sign of the times. Definitely not. I love that. All the little dialogue that like becomes important later, like when they're talking about, what we should do tomorrow, have a Bloody Mary first thing, bite at the king's head, a couple with the little princess, stagger back here, and we're back at the bar for shots. He's describing the fucking movie. That's so brilliant. The writing is so smart with these movies, and it's so great. I love when If You Leave Me Now comes on the jukebox after Liz dumps him, and Ed's just like, "I'll put this on," and Sean tearfully goes, "It's on random." It's great.
I like when he accidentally hits him with the dart when they're attacking that one.
Right in the fucking head. Oh my god. Yeah, this is a classic.
This is such a good fucking movie.
Oh yeah. Wonderful. All right, here we are. Moment of truth. What is your number one pick?
My number one is the final piece of the trifecta of my favorite horror director puzzle. And there's only one way to introduce this movie. If it's October, it must be Saw. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, this was the overlap. This was what I was tossed between this and Devil's Rejects. I ultimately went with Saw because I love Devil's Rejects, but this one has so much more of an impact and influence on me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're my friend like you are, and anyone who knows me, I fucking love the Saw franchise.
Yes, you do.
And it all started with this movie. I remember how I ended up on this movie was that one day it was on Showtime, and my dad's like, "Hey, that Saw movie, we've been hearing about it." It's like I think the third movie was like in theaters when this happened. And he's like, it's supposed to be like, I kept hearing about it. They got the third movie out. You want to watch it? And I was like, yeah. To his credit, he hated that movie, but I loved it. I fell in love with the theme and the story and the iconic character and John Kramer, aka Jigsaw. The fucking twist that I get it. I know there's always that person who's like, I saw the twist coming. Fuck off. You did not see the twist coming in Saw. That's the one movie I will challenge you and call your bullshit. You did not see that. I don't know anyone who legitimately saw that twist happening.
I knew about the twist before I saw the movie, regrettably, but I still fucking loved it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's like a good twist. You go back and you watch it, it holds up. Like, it makes sense. You can be like, oh, okay. And I know they did some like more explanation in later sequels. I think it was like Saw 4 or 5 that they explain it more. But yeah, and this was the film that like I actually will usually try to convince people to watch this one because a lot of people are like, well, Saw started torture porn. I was like, really? Saw 2 kicked off torture porn for the Saw franchise. This one's a lot more psychological and plays a lot more into what James Wan is known for.
Yeah,
what he likes. And I say don't, if you don't want to watch like the Grizzly stuff, you don't have to watch sequels, but give the first one a chance. It's iconic for a reason. It's one of the highest grossing fucking horror films. It spawned a franchise that's still fucking going. And it gave us like one of the biggest names in modern horror directing in James Wan, Leigh Whannell. Like it did so much and became such a huge hit. And it has not left me since. It's such a fucking favorite of mine.
Yeah, I feel bad that we did it before you officially joined the show. I wish you'd gotten to do the first one. Well, you get to do two through 8. So you already did Spiral. So good on you, mate. Fuck yeah, that makes perfect sense. I don't know why I'm surprised.
I got the tattoo on my arm.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. Yeah, Saw, of course. Surprised none of the sequels made your top 10.
I didn't want it to get too sequel heavy, so I said, you know what? Let me just pick one. I'll go with the original.
So I guess it was The Devil's Rejects your only sequel?
I guess technically Freddy versus Jason. Does that count as a sequel?
Yeah, it does. Okay. So you had
Yeah.
a couple. I didn't have any sequels. My number one is one of the greatest horror films of all time. Maybe an argument could be made. Well, no, I won't say that. I'll piss off Josh. Never mind.
We stop recording. I have to hear this.
You will. I'll tell you when we stop recording. I don't need that shitstorm. So one thing I
like
really
a flurry of text later, like what did you say?
I know. It's gonna happen regardless. God damn it. Anyway, one thing I love in horror is realism. And especially when you have something on such a grand scale as this, to make it feel real, to make it feel like this could actually happen is quite a feat of filmmaking talent. And it happened in 2002's 28 Days Later.
I'm not surprised. I know how much you love that movie.
My God, one of the
Damn good
most
pick.
insane movies ever. Just, a man-made virus gets out and causes the complete destruction of the United Kingdom. I buy that, especially with the shit we're dealing with now with COVID. Like, fuck.
You know what's scary? The movie got scarier like the past year and a half when COVID hit. It was like, oh shit, we about to have a 28 Days Later scenario.
Austin and I did this on Filmgazm like right around the time COVID started really happening. And we did it as kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. And looking back, probably pretty insensitive. I've had a year to reflect on that. I'm like, maybe we should have waited.
Gosh, we somehow get like rich and famous, and that's what brings us down. You see that time they did the episode tongue in cheek right during the COVID apocalypse? Assholes.
Hey, we didn't do 28 weeks later when the Delta variant exploded. So I think, a little restraint. Anyway.
Well, luckily, any more variants come out. There's no 28 months later yet or ever. So
we'll do like Outbreak or Contagion or something, Andromeda Strain, something like that. There's plenty of virus movies out there. But 28 Days Later is the best. Cillian Murphy, Brendan Gleeson, Christopher Eccleston as such a psycho. Naomi Harris, what a great cast. Danny Boyle kills it. The scene where Jim wakes up and just London is empty. I mean, how terrifying. Just at that point, you're not quite sure what happened. Like if the first time you're watching this, you just know like a virus got out, but what did it do? And just Jim walking around London is such a unsettling feeling. The idea that the infection is instant, you've got like 12 seconds to kill the guy or they're going to turn and kill you. Like to make that decision. Oh my God.
That opening to me, like second viewing, it's actually creepier because when you know what the fuck's going on in that movie, it actually kind of tensed me up more because I'm like, dude, stop. Get to safety. You're not safe out there.
No, I mean, yeah, The Walking Dead ripped it off. Jim waking up from a coma into an apocalyptic world. Pretty obvious. But if you're going to steal, why not steal from the best? Yeah, right?
Just adopt a really, faked Southern accent. Carl! She's dead, Carl!
But I think what really puts this film in number one for me, it's not just that it's a great zombie movie or, Infected, whatever. It's a zombie movie. Shut the fuck up. It's when we meet the soldiers. And that's when we think, oh, help has arrived. But no, these are sex-starved, lonely soldiers who have not seen women in a very long time. And they don't care about, buying them dinner first. They're going to rape these women and it's going to hurt and they're going to do it forever. And then like Christopher Eccleston, their Major Henry West tells Jim, I promised them women and I'll lose control of them if I don't give them women. Then it turns into a completely different horror film. And it's scarier that these guys are what they became with this world. And then Jim just going fucking Manhunter on them is so satisfying. It's great. I think this is Danny Boyle's masterpiece. It's my favorite Cillian Murphy performance, my favorite Brendan Gleeson performance. Well, maybe In Bruges is up there, but it's such a powerhouse of a movie that I take something new away from every time I watch it. And it was the first, I knew this was going to be my number one when we started this. This is hands down one of my all-time favorite movies. And I'm glad I got to do this.
Oh yeah, dude. You know what I always think like makes that movie work so well is the camera work for that movie.
Yeah.
Like, they purposely go, it's not found footage, but they purposely go for a very shaky handheld style to get you into that feeling.
Well, they filmed it with video cameras. They didn't use film. They used, handhelds. They used video cameras. And it adds to this just tone. It feels real. And with COVID, that movie's become infinitely scarier just because of what could happen if something even more powerful than COVID ever got into the public. That's, killing us instantly. Like this happens overnight.
Yeah. Well, it's like the idea of like the virus and like you touched on with the soldiers. And again, we're kind of not to the extreme in this movie, but we have been seeing what people during this pandemic, how people are acting. The idea that like it's not just the virus you need to be scared of, it is people you need to be scared of, because when rules are gone, when society has collapsed, people can be the most terrifying thing ever.
Yeah, reminds me of the episode, the season 10 finale of The Walking Dead, where we learn Negan's backstory, and in the final moments when he's talking to that biker gang guy and he has him tied up. And he tells him, I didn't know what I was capable of, but now I think I'm capable of damn near anything. Like, what a horrifying realization about yourself that you can do anything. Whatever needs to be done, you can do it. That is fucking terrifying. I hope I'm never in a situation where I realize, like, I'll do what needs to be done. I don't ever want to lose my humanity like that.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Quick tangent. I really like seeing Jeffrey Dean Morgan slip back into that old Negan role for a quick second. That episode, I was like, "Oh, he's back. It's old Negan."
That was nice. Leather jacket, baseball bat. That's motherfucking Negan.
Yeah, he meant business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, no, I agree with you. And like, honestly, this is a case where, again, like, the sequel to me is just as good. Like, I think 28 Weeks Later really fucking did a great job of expanding from what 28 Days Later put out. Like, to the point that I'm still slightly upset. The little movie fan of me is a little upset that I haven't got 28 months later, because I wanted that though. And I'm like, you guys aced it twice.
Yeah. Cillian Murphy came out recently and said like he wants to do 28 months later. He wants to play Jim again. He wants to do that. With that, what's stopping anybody? Like, bring that. I mean,
apparently,
in a post-pandemic world, this movie would be such a hit. I mean, goddamn. But I agree with you. 28 Weeks Later is a fantastic sequel, very underrated, just as scary. Wonderful. Yeah. Goddamn. We got to do more of these. This was a blast.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this instead of dealing with a shit movie weekend.
Yeah, I think we had a lot more fun than if we'd be here talking about a shitty musical.
Yeah, I had more fun going over my very formative years of horror over a shitty musical.
Yeah, let's go ahead and recap our list for the audience. Go ahead and recap your top 10.
All right, my top 10. So 10, Pitch Black. 9, Freddy vs. Jason. 8, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. 7, Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon. 6, Hostel. 5, Hatchet. 4, The Descent. 3, Trick or Treat. 2, The Devil's Rejects. And 1, Saw. I want to play a game.
Very nice. Mine was number 10, Hatchet. Number 9, Slither. Number 8, Signs. Number 7, Saw. Number 6, The Mist. Number 5, 1408. Number 4, Drag Me to Hell. Number 3, The Descent. Number 2, Shaun of the Dead. Number 1, 28 Days Later. 20 fantastic films, mostly. I think we did a great job here.
I think we aced it. I think we really we've revealed a bit about ourselves during this decade.
That's what these do. It's what the top 10s do. They reveal what we really, really like about certain degrees of film. And I think that's the best part of this, is learning about each other.
Yeah, like your list, much more fun films overall. Mine, a lot of violent.
Yeah, shit. You're clearly into much darker shit than I am. But that's hardly a revelation for me.
I know. That God bless any like future friend or like girlfriend that's just not aware. She's like, "What kind of music you like?" And I'm like, "How about you go first? let me gauge what you say."
I hope they are ready for some pig squealing metal and a dude just getting his dick ripped off in Hostel 2. Because that's the relationship.
I'm so glad you brought up the pig squealing metal. I've showed so many people that song, and I get the same reaction every time.
My God, to put that in perspective, I have recently just gotten into Alanis Morissette. So, yeah. I feel like in kindergarten, you would have kicked my ass. This was so much fun. We're definitely gonna be doing more stuff like this in the future on Sneak Preview when it's stuff comes out that we don't want to devote 2 hours to. Next week, not that. We got some legitimately exciting movies to cover. In theaters, we got the long-awaited release of Venom: Let There Be Carnage. Very excited. And in theaters and HBO Max, we've got the even longer-awaited release of The Many Saints of Newark. I don't know which one I'm more excited about. Venom 2, finally getting to see Carnage for the first time on the big screen, or Tony Soprano's formative years. I'm so excited.
I'm Venom 2, but that's only because I haven't seen Sopranos.
I know. Oh, I'm so glad I rewatched the series recently. It's all fresh. This is going to be so much fun. And also we have the Addams Family 2 and The Guilty next week, but it's pretty clear where our priorities are.
So I like the first Addams Family, but it wasn't like the greatest animated film I ever watched in my life.
I don't care for Illumination. I think they're like a D-grade DreamWorks studio. I don't like their films.
Yeah, they're okay. And then The Guilty, I'm just gonna sit there for like 2 hours and hope that Jake Gyllenhaal showered for someone.
I am going to look at the Tomatoes score, and if it's positive, I'll give it a watch. But I don't remember the last positive Netflix movie.
I can't fucking remember.
That's fucking sad.
I feel like them and Paramount Plus are competing for like who can put out the worst films, which is convenient because both of them have some big horror franchises that are supposed to be coming out in October. So let's find out.
And then Peacock sitting over here not giving James McAvoy a script. Like, wait, hold my beer. I can fuck this up too. Oh, well, they're getting Halloween, so that'll give them a lot of subscribers. And they have a good output. Peacock's got, a lot of options.
Yeah, and if the rumors are true, they'll have the Monsters movie that Rob Zombie's doing. The rumor is that that's going to be a Peacock exclusive, but again, rumor, not confirmed yet.
Yep, and we deal in facts here. Facts and cold, hard opinions. This was fun. Don't miss The Wicker Man on Wednesday's Filmgazm, and a Best Picture showdown starring 1971's The French Connection on Oscar Sunday. Have an awesome week and keep watching movies. God knows we're going to do it.